What's going on, y'all? Today I'm going to show you the bowling balls that travel with me just about everywhere. I'm a big fan of having bowling balls that you trust and that you know. So no matter what's out there, you know what you have here on the rack and in the bag. So without further ado, let's get right to the video. I always like to establish a baseline, and that is, I like to throw my benchmark balls first. So I'm gonna start around the track area with my benchmark ball, the Ion Pro. It's a good way to start, isn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna pretend I don't know what's out here, which I do know, but still, the way I'm going to play the lane is always going to be the same. I'm going to let my ball be my guide. That last shot got a little too far down the lane and it didn't have the energy to get back to the hole. So let's try to throw this one a little slower from the same area. A little left. But you can see I have missed left. We're always looking for the most amount of miss. No matter if you're the highest professional bowler in the world or an average league bowler, you're always looking for your most miss. We're human, we're gonna miss. We're not a robot. So, you're looking for the ball and the right part of the lane where you can miss and still have the opportunity to strike. So I'm trying to throw that one a little better. And every time I try to throw it better, that happens. I've established there's hook to the right, and I've established there's hold when I miss left. So, I'll go ahead and tell you, it is a house shot. No surprise there. However, house shots can still be tricky if you don't have the right ball in your hand. A lot of league bowlers make the mistake of getting a ball that's way too responsive when it sees friction. It's too clean to the front part of the lane. They're like, oh, we really want that back end reaction. No, you do later on when oil starts to carry down. On the fresh, you don't want a lot of reaction down lane. Really responsive balls create a lot of inconsistencies, especially on the fresh, because they're too responsive. When you miss to the friction, they overhook, and when you miss left, they don't hook because they're not seeing friction to hook off of. So in this example, I'm going to show you a clean and responsive ball from the same area I just threw that Ion Pro. Okay. So for this comparison, I'm going to throw this Versatility Blackout. So I missed left like I did one of the other shots with the Ion Pro. You can see, as soon as I saw the end of the pattern, it went left. Now I'm going to get one to the further right towards friction, and you're going to see it overhook. Okay, I'm going to try to get this one further to the right now. So I got a fortunate break and I didn't split there, but any other day that's a split because it's too fast off the friction for as far right as I am, and it's fresh. So there's a lot of oil out there, and that cleaner cover stock wants to get down the lane already. It's the ball's DNA. It wants to get further down the lane, but it's too responsive when it counters there's no oil. Where we're looking for a ball to pick up in the oil and slow down before it sees that friction down lane on the fresh. Back to the Ion Pro. See how much more controllable that is? Ideally, that's what we're looking for on fresh, any fresh. We're looking for control. It's not going to overhook down lane, but it's not going to hook too early where if you do miss a little right, it isn't going to hook, especially on house shots. Another thing I want to touch on, just because a ball isn't good on the fresh doesn't mean that it won't be better once it breaks down and vice versa. A lot of people want to say, oh, I can throw this ball the entire time. Realistically, that's not realistic. So we're looking for different types of bowling balls for different situations. You're going to encounter many different situations just in your 3 games of league. On the fresh, you're going to have a lot of oil out there. You're going to start a little straighter. Then as they break down, you're going to move further left, but sometimes that ball you start with moving further left isn't the ball. You got a ball change. The lanes have now transitioned, and the ball that was working is no longer working. The ball that you were using is good for a specific purpose. So right now, I really like my look with the Ion Pro. That one was a little firmer and a little further to the right. It didn't overhook, but it didn't underhook. So we're in the right ball in the right part of the lane. We say, Nick, what if I use that ball in the wrong part of the lane? I'll show you. Okay, now I'm intentionally in the wrong part of the lane. I missed the head pin. Why? I'm too far left. This ball likes to play straighter on what I'm bowling on currently. But if I put out a 35-foot pattern, the ball probably hits the 4-pin from that part of the lane. So to say that, oh, well, I bought this ball, Nick, and it doesn't do what I want it to do. Your ball's your guide. If your ball's not doing what you want it to do, move around, find something. You also want to look at bowling balls that benefit your style and your game. For me personally, I really like stronger bowling balls, stronger cover stock bowling balls, especially. My miss is I throw it harder, always have. So I look at balls that give me the miss when I throw it harder. Some people's misses are throw it slower, so you need weaker bowling balls. Most times for me, I'm gonna stay in the balls that are stronger cover stock wise, or if they're not, I use surface to make them pick up in the front part of the lane more. I'm always looking for control no matter what's out there. House shot, tournament patterns, you know, anything. I'm always looking for control. So I've balled up to the absolute power. I'm standing in the same spot I did with the Ion Pro. You can see it didn't get as far to the right. It's much earlier, core-wise, much stronger than the Ion Pro. Cover's different, obviously, but much earlier, and it wants to get into its roll phase much quicker than the Ion Pro. Therefore, almost 4-pin, it overhooked. But the same reason why the Ion Pro didn't look very good further left is the same reason why this ball doesn't look very good further to the right. Okay, I moved left off of the Ion Pro. Now we're in its sweet spot on this pattern. There's oil in the middle part of the lane, a lot of friction to the right. Don't want to throw a really strong ball towards the right. It's going to start up too soon, and it's not going to retain its energy. Just as the Ion Pro was too clean and too responsive for as far left as I went. The absolute power picks up earlier and is better in oil compared to Ion Pro. So knowing your equipment is beneficial. You say, well, my Ion Pro, my benchmark ball, is either not hooking enough or it's hooking too much. Well, right now, if I move far left with the Ion Pro, it's not hooking enough. Well, I'm obviously going to go to something stronger, more core, a little different cover, absolute power. Ball is better in more oil compared to the Ion Pro. All bowling balls have a place somewhere. Some bowling balls just don't match up to people, and that's okay. But once you have a baseline of what you like, build your arsenal around the ball that you like. Have something stronger, and maybe sometimes have something even stronger than that. And then have something weaker than your favorite ball, and sometimes another ball weaker than even the weakest ball in your bag. Now I've thrown the Ion Pro and the absolute power. Well, as I go further left, I'm going to need something with more back end, because I need something that's going to see the friction and turn left instead of smooth and round off of it. So I'm going to ball change to a pearl asymmetrical ball. Okay, so now I ball change to the Virtual Energy Blackout. You see, much cleaner and more responsive than the absolute power. I threw that shot very, very good too. But if I was to get it to the right, like I did the absolute power, more than likely that ball's gonna overhook. So, prime example, did it hit the pocket? Yes, but it overhooked in the pin deck. That tells me I need to move further left. Almost 7-9 on that shot. So, I'm gonna move further left because this ball is telling me, hey look, I need more angle if you're gonna throw me. I've got way too much back in to play where I was just playing with the absolute power. So let's do that. Okay, I moved a few left now. still got that 9-pin in there. So I can keep moving left. The ball's telling me, hey, look, I got plenty of energy. You can keep moving as far left as you want. Further left now with the virtual energy blackout. Now I've hit the pocket, but it's a little too far down the lane. Again, still fresh house shot. I've only thrown a couple shots with the Ion Pro and the Absolute Power, so I really haven't broken them down a lot. There's still too much oil in the middle part of the lane for me to throw a clean ball. It's too quick when it sees friction, and it's not early enough to see the oil. Just as that shot there, I get the wrap 10. Sure, I could throw it a little slower. Problem is, I throw it a little slower, get it to the friction again, it overhooks on a split. So it's not the most controllable piece right now, and the virtual energy blackout is one of my favorite bowling balls. So it is in no way a bad ball. It's just not the ball right now, and that's okay. Knowing your bag is crucial when it comes to tournaments and even league. If you know what ball's not working, you know the ball that will work. You got to throw that ball. The other thing I always look for is versatility. What can I do with a ball? And how many different ways can I do it with that ball? One of the best balls ever made, the IQ Tour Edition. This is a step down for me off of the Ion Pro. So it's the same projection, same launch angle as the Ion Pro. See, it didn't quite have enough to get back. So I can move a couple right off the Ion Pro and it should strike. A couple right off the Ion Pro with the IQ Tour. Miss a little left. Now I've created a little bit of hook. I just got to dial it in. Okay, I've made my adjustment now with the IQ Tour. Still get the 4-pin, so it tells me I'm a little too far right. My fear is if I move too far left, it's not gonna hook. So right now, the clear choice, what ball I should be throwing right now is my Ion Pro, because it's stronger than my IQ Tour, and it's weaker than my Absolute Power for me to be able to play straighter. If I wanna move further left, I'm obviously gonna throw my Absolute Power, stronger core. If I move further right than the Ion Pro, I'm gonna throw the IQ Tour. If I wanna move really far left in front of the Absolute Power, it's going to be the virtual energy blackout. But you know, what if the virtual energy blackout is too strong once I move further left? Well, you got to have a ball down. What I always say about having balls that you know you can trust. And in my bag today, you can see there's a lot of bowling balls that I like. So this one's no exception. The Storm High Road. But that ball's obviously way too clean and way too responsive. So clean, in fact, it didn't hook. Obviously, still fresh. This ball is going to be my ball that I go to when they break down. When I have to get really far left and I need a ball that's going to ignore the first 40 feet of the lane, I'm going to look at this high road. It's still going to pick up. It's going to get into its roll phase, but it's so clean when there's less oil. This ball is so good for me because I know what it's going to do every time. I'm going to throw it slower, but I still don't think it's going to matter that much. Yeah, I've got the over-under, so I throw it slower and it overhooks. But if I throw it a little faster, it never hooks. But again, I want to touch on versatility. You want to have a lot of versatility in your bowling balls. If your ball's not very versatile to your game, it's not a very good ball for your game. So I'm going to take this high road and play straighter because it's going to ignore the first part of the lane where I was struggling with the IQ Tour a little too early for me to be able to play that straight, but it was not enough when I moved further left. My theory is the high road should clear the front part of the lane much easier than the IQ Tour and see the oil and kind of go straight off of it instead of go sideways. So it sat there. The problem is it went too far down the lane. That's why I left the 10-pin. Didn't have enough energy. It didn't slow down enough. It's too clean. So now that I know that it's not going to overhook from there, I can throw it a little slower. The issue is I might get that overhook. We'll find out. Looked really good, didn't it? It sat there. It didn't overhook. It wasn't too clean, it was just clean enough. So for my 6th ball, obviously, you gotta have that spare ball. And I talked about versatility, but you can throw your sputter ball as a first ball too. Just gotta find enough friction for it. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed. Cue that outro. All right guys, there you have it. There are the staples in my bag. I'm always gonna have a benchmark ball. I'm always gonna have something stronger than that benchmark ball. I'm gonna have something weaker than that benchmark ball. I'm gonna have something stronger than my benchmark ball that's more responsive, but I'm also gonna have something weaker than my benchmark ball that's more responsive as well. So in today's video, you saw me throw the Absolute Power, which is the strongest ball that I brought with me today. Big asymmetrical core, a little weaker cover stock, but fantastic for the house shot when you want to get a little further left of the track, play that hold. Pro looked really, really good. Playing the track area, the ball gives me a lot of control. If I miss to the right, it hooks, but it doesn't overhook. And if I miss left, it holds, but it reads in it and still strikes. IQ Tour, weaker than Ion Pro. Still gives me the recovery down lane if I miss to the right. If I miss to the left, it's a little too clean, a little too responsive compared to the Ion Pro, so I'd move a couple left. Then a ball down from my Absolute Power is my Virtual Energy Blackout. Much cleaner cover stock, still that asymmetrical core. Today, because this pattern is not broken down, it didn't look so great, which is okay. Balls have their, again, I want to touch on, balls have a purpose. All balls have a purpose. The Virtual Energy Blackout, much cleaner, much more down lane, much more back end than the Absolute Power. So when your Absolute Power is a little too smooth, you throw that Virtual Energy Blackout, or if your Virtual Energy Blackout is a little too snappy, you throw that Absolute Power. And then when the lanes get really, really burnt up, I always like to go to a much weaker ball. And in this video, I have the High Road with me. So this ball really wants to get down the lane. It's got a weak core, weak cover stock, but it still gets into its roll phase pretty well. So I can do a lot of different things with it. And every ball in this video, I can do a lot of different things with it. I can trick it with my hand. I can change ball speed. I can change rotation, rolls. All these balls match up to me very, very well. And I have a lot of bowling balls that I gravitate towards. And these are a lot of them. I didn't have a phase 2 with me today, but just show you, have that benchmark ball that you can build off of and build around and know your arsenal. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribe to my channel. I'd really, really appreciate it. If you like the jerseys that I wear in all my videos, please check out EFX at apparelefx.com. You can use my code SRGBBFS for 10% off the entire website. When you go to drill your next SPI product, make sure you throw turbo products in there as well as switch grip. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.